What I was asked to do in this case, though, was to share a little bit with you around how we approach this topic. And let me share with you a little of my background. I'm currently the Director and Diversity Strategist at the University of Houston's International Institute for Diversity and Cross-Cultural Management. Now, that's a mouthful to have to answer the phone with. But at its core, my work is helping organizations to integrate the concepts of equity, fairness, dignity, and respect into their traditional business practices. This is a line management issue. This is not an HR issue. Now, I know there's some HR folks who disagree and feel they should have ownership of the topic, but the reality is HR should have ownership of the competency enhancements that are needed, but this work has to reside separate from HR and in the hands of the line managers, or the reality is they can't deal with the challenges that arise on a regular basis. If I were to take all of this work and approach and methodology and try to cull it down to a 30-second talk track on an elevator, I think my question would go something like this. When asked, am I the touchy-feely diversity guy, which often has come up in organizations that are left-brain, engineering, and analytical, my response is pretty succinct. How many people do we have that we can afford to underutilize? Yeah, their answer is almost immediately none. Well, my response back to them is there's a body of data that shows we have an incredibly high percentage of our employees who are self-stating that they give less than 100% of their best efforts on a regular basis. In fact, the data we have from 14 companies, over 10,000 respondents, says upwards of 60% of employees give less than 100% of their best efforts on a regular basis. When asked why, the number one reason they don't give that best effort is their boss doesn't treat them with dignity and respect. And that doesn't cost us anything. At its core, if I cull this work down to one word, that one word would be respect. But I'd have to partner it with a second one, which is mutual. Because respect is a two-way street. It's not commanded by position and authority. It's earned, as you all know. While doing this work, I can't tell you how many times I found disrespectful behaviors, and we've got the data to document it, that clearly affects performance and productivity. This is a lot more than a right brain touchy-feely issue. It's an issue that can be measured. And once you can measure it, most left brain engineering analytical leaders can then manage it. At its core, that's the approach. I can cull it down a lot more for you. Stick around and I'll give you a little bit more if you're interested.